guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and today we are doing a crash course on how to stitch something on the EM1010 from start to finish. I did a poll on my YouTube community tab and on my Instagram, and it was pretty even on if you guys wanted this made into one long video or made into a series. I'm just gonna make it one long video because it was pretty split. It was fairly 50-50. So I don't know how long this video is gonna end up being, but we are just gonna do it in one long video. We are going to start by downloading our design from Etsy. We are going to bring it into Embrilliance. I'm gonna show you how to change your colors in Embrilliance. I'm gonna show you how to save it, print it, put it on the machine, set your colors, trace it, everything, okay? Or at least I hope I go over everything. Hopefully I don't miss anything. But yeah, so what we are working on today is this super cute tote bag. Obviously I'm recording this intro after the video because I wanted to show you guys the final product because we're giving this bag away today and I'm very excited about it. These bags are so cute. I believe I got it from Alpha Broder or Jiffy Shirts. I don't remember, but I have it in a few colors and they've just been sitting and I thought it would be fun to do just a random giveaway. So throughout this video, I'm going to leave a phrase, but I'm only going to give you a few letters at a time, like 2 or 3 letters at a time. So you had to pay attention the whole video, and whoever can piece together the phrase first and leave it in all caps in the comments wins this tote bag. You don't have to pay for everything. I'm covering shipping. So if you want to win this tote bag, watch the whole video and leave the phrase in the comments below. I am making this video because I have had so many of you guys message me, leave me comments, give me feedback about how much your EM1010 stresses you out. A lot of you don't know how to use it. A lot of you say it's just sitting there. A lot of you say that it's confusing, and that just kills me. We can't have that happen. I love my EM1010. I use it so much. I use it almost daily. I love having 2 of them. I love my TC for hats. But we are going to do a crash course on the EM1010 today. In a future video, we're going to master hats on this because I'm sick and tired of not being able to do hats on this, and we're going to get it done. So that's coming in a future video because I'm tired of not being able to do hats on it, and we can't have that, okay? So, but today we are embroidering this tote bag from start to finish. Like I said, I'm gonna go over everything. First things first, let's go over to the computer. I'm gonna do a voiceover and show you guys how to do the entire Embrilliance part of it. I will leave a link to Embrilliance down below on Amazon. It is an affiliate link, but hopefully that will get you guys started if you don't have an embroidery software. Honestly, I bounce back and forth between Embrilliance and the Chroma Luxe that I have with my machines. I usually use Embrilliance the most just because my fonts are already uploaded to it, and it's super easy to navigate. I'm trying to learn how to digitize. That's usually when I go over to Chroma Luxe. So that's why we are using Embrilliance today and not Chroma. It's just real easy to drag and drop and print and everything else. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So here is the piece design that I bought, and I thought it was really cute. I thought it was going to be a good sample for this video. It's got, you know, 4 or 5 different colors, and yeah, it's going to be really cute. So I think we're going to do this like on a tote bag or something for the video. I haven't really decided yet. But so this is an 8x8 design. So we are going to need a big hoop for this, but it's going to be awesome. So we're going to go over to our downloads, and you can see I actually already downloaded this morning, but we're going to go through the motions again. So you just click download, and then I'm on a Mac, so it shows up right down here. We are going to double click on it, and I will show you what the files look like. And I apologize if my computer takes a minute on a few of these different things. Okay, so you can see this design comes in all different file formats. We are going to be using the DST because that is what the Ricoma machines take. So let's go ahead and minimize Etsy. Don't mind all of the stuff on my home screen. Let's go ahead and open Embrilliance. And what we're going to do, I like to just drag and drop. There is a whole thing about, you know, going to file, open, new, upload. I like to just grab it, drag and drop. There we go. So now we are in Embrilliance, okay? And I have to be honest, I don't know what all of these different buttons are called. We're gonna go up here to this yellow file folder. We're gonna click it, and this gives us our different hoops, okay? And you can, you know, again, change your file format to everything. I honestly don't really touch this that much. I change the file format when I save my file, but I don't think I've ever changed this actually. So these are all of the different size hoops that you might have. I have added my own Mighty hoops as I've purchased them. You just go over here to new and create a new hoop size in millimeters. So since this is an 8x8 design, we are going to use our 8x9 Mighty hoop today. If you don't have a Mighty hoop yet, you should be able to use the 8x12 embroidery hoop that came with your EM1010. So you can see this design fits in there pretty darn perfect. Okay. So now we're going to change up our colors. You can either leave it like this and then just put them on the machine however you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, and do you see this little arrow right here next to the one? That shows us that there's like a drop down menu kind of, and it shows us what is going to stitch out on each step of the design. So let's go to step number 1. What color do we want our peace sign? I think I'm going to stay a little similar to the product photo from Etsy. So we're going to go silver for that. The outline, I think I'm just going to do silver also, because I think I want to do all of the line work on the flowers in black. So I don't want the outline of the peace sign to get mixed in with those. So you'll see it once it all comes together once we're done. Okay, so this one they have default to a light green. What did they have on the design? I don't remember. I guess I can just click over here. Yeah, it looks like they had all of that pink. So let's see. We can do those pink also. And in this, sorry, I should have explained that. So when you can just click on the color right here, and it's going to pull up all the different colors, and you can change, like if you use specifically Madeira thread, you can change it to Madeira. If you use, any of these other threads, you can change it to any of those. Coates and Clark, Brother, Madeira. So we are just using the Brother ones. For right now. The only reason I'm keeping it on here is because that's what it was already defaulted to, and it makes it simple. So we were going for a pink. Let's do, whoops, that was white. Let's do deep rose. There we go. Okay, so now we are on this one. Let's see what color they did for that one. Looks like they did that one the same blue. So let's go ahead and do that one like a light blue. And if you remember the number, you can hit number right here and type it in, or you can just scroll by color, which is what I usually do until I find it. Okay, and then this one, these are all the leaves, so we'll do those green. Let's see. Oh, leaf green, perfect. And then let's see. This is the line work that I wanted, black. So let's find our black and do that. See, I think that looks really cute. Okay, this one, let's see, what color flowers did they do? They did those blue also. So let's go back to the light blue. And then these are orange. So let's change these to orange. I guess we could do tangerine, that'll work. And then those are pink again. Okay. So we did the deep rose for our pink. So let's find that again. Deep rose, there we go. Okay, now this is the same line work that I want black again, so we'll do black. And then these last little ones, let's see, what color did they do on there? Looks like they did those the same color as the leaves almost, it looks like. So let's just go ahead and do those leafy green also, and just keep it the same. So let's go back to leaf green. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I think that's going to look really cute. And of course you can make these whatever color you want. You know, you could do yellow and coral and purple, or, you know, whatever. You can make them whatever color you want. So now that we have our design, how we want it, our colors set and everything, we're going to go over here to print, this little printer right here. And so here we have a printout of what it's going to look like. My printer isn't a color printer, so it's just going to print in black and white. But you can see it has our crosshairs that shows us where the center of our design is. And then it's also going to print our run sheet, which tells us which color comes in what step. So we're going to go ahead and print both of these. So I'm going to send that to the printer. Now to save it, we're going to go to the floppy disk right here and click on it. And let's go ahead and name this Floral Piece. And then this drop down menu is where you're going to save it to whatever it is you're saving it to. Mine is the TC stick. I have 2 USB sticks, 1 EM stick, 1 TC stick. The TC stick is just the one that I grabbed. Doesn't really matter as long as you know what's on it. So that's what I'm going to click on. And then this is where you're going to select your file type. Now we are on the EM1010, which is a .dst file. So we're going to make sure it is on that, and then click save, and then eject our USB stick and head over to the machine. Okay guys, sorry for the lighting. I tried to use my ring light and then it just made the screen to where you couldn't see it. So we're just gonna, it's just gonna have to be dark for just a second. So bear with me. So this is the touch screen panel on your EM1010. This top part shows everything for the design that you have loaded. It shows you the file name, and it's stitching. It tells you what stitch you're on, how many stitches total it is, your axis and everything, what degree you have it angled at, and then basically, you know, just other file format information, what hoop you have it set to, etc., etc. This bottom part has a bunch of different touch keys. This is your trace tool. If you need to abort a job and go back to the beginning, you hit this ORG one and it'll go back to the beginning, like if you need to start over or something. For example, if you hit it, it will ask you or tell you, you know, terminate embroidery and return to the origin, and you would hit OK if that's what you wanted to do. These buttons right here are how you adjust the speed. You can either go faster or lower. This file button right here is how you select your file type. I have a USB plugged in right now, so that's why it's clicked onto there. But if you have one already saved to the machine, you would hit the machine button and go through all the ones that you have saved to your machine. If you need to download one, which actually I will show you in just a minute once we do our peace sign. Let me back up. We'll do that in just a minute. This right here is what number needle your machine is centered on. The EM1010 always traces on needle number 1, so I always just change it to number 1, and I know it's out of frame, but the machine just went to needle number 1 to center. This right here is how you set your colors for your thread, which we will go over in just a moment. This is for more design settings. If you need to rotate your design, you go to this F right here. This one changes the angle of your design. This changes it in 90-degree position. So if I needed this to go sideways, then I would do that. If I needed it, you know, upside down, etc., etc. There's more button functions here too, like if you're making patches and you need to duplicate and separate things, which we're not going to go over that today. Maybe in a separate video I'll do that. This is how you change your hoop that you have. You know, if you're using your cap frame, obviously you use the hat. These are for your smaller hoops. I didn't realize this was going to work on the touch screen. I thought it was just my finger. So yeah, we actually for the next one are going to be using our 8x9 mighty hoop. So I will show you what hoop we're going to select for that and what to do with the mighty hoop, because a lot of people say other, but I don't use that, and I will show you what I do in just a moment. So we will escape out of there. Your embroidery parameters, usually there's nothing in here that you need to do. I do have a video on how to widen the embroidery parameters. I'll link it down below for a hat, for embroidering lower on a hat. But as of right now, we're not touching anything in there. And then this is just your basic menu. You don't really need to touch anything in there either. And then this, if you are ready, you can lock your design and your embroidery status is locked and ready to go, and you're ready to press start. If you need to move your design, you just hit these arrows right here. And again, I know it's out of frame, but the entire frame on the machine is moving as I move these. Up, down, That's kind of moving like slow snail speed. If you want to go fast, you can see how much faster that goes once you know, single it up, double it up. This button right here is the frame out button. If you need the frame to come out, you usually only use this when you do applique, and you can set that in here also with this button right here. If you set your colors, you can set that and it'll put an F right next to that, and it'll know that it needs to stop, and the frame will come out so that you can cut and then keep going. And you can just leave that on automatic right here. Instead of doing automatic manual. Usually when I do applique, it has so many pieces, so I just keep like automatic manual no matter what. But if you want, you can do the frame out. However, I have found that if you use Mighty Hoops, this frame out button does not work, which is why I usually keep it on automatic manual. It makes a really, really bad grinding noise when you use the Mighty Hoops instead of the like frames that came with the machine. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a parameter dimension issue or what, but it makes a very, very nasty grinding noise when I do the frame out set to the things versus automatic manual. There's also this fun button up here which turns the light on the machine just so that you can see better. I usually have it on just because my craft room is pretty dark and it's the heat of summer, so I have all my blinds closed to keep the cool air in. But yeah, you could either work with it on or off. And this button down here, honestly, I don't think I've ever pressed it. It's called the Go to Endpoint button. And like I said, I don't think I've ever used it, so I don't know that you're going to have to either. But yeah, that's what that button is. Okay, sorry for my shaky hand. I'm really short, and so it helps me to have hold this instead of do it on the tripod. So your needles go, like your thread colors. So you have needle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this little guy right here is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then up here you have your upper tension knobs. These look like tubes, but they're actually like springs that help hold your thread down, which I actually probably just messed up that thread because it came through. And then, you know, your whole thread path, and then you have your lower top tension knobs. Both of these adjust your top tension. So the first thing we need to do is upload our design. Now I have a name on here because I was just doing some scrubs for a local vet office. So we need to change our design. I have my USB stick plugged in. The design is unlocked. If it was locked, I wouldn't be able to change files. It would tell me I have to remove the embroidery status. So we're gonna unlock it, remove embroidery status, okay. Go to File, and then find our design, which we named it, what did we name it? We named it Floral Piece, right? Yes. Forgot what we named it for a second. Okay, so now I'm still on the USB stick, and this is showing me the design that's on the stick, but it's not saved to the machine yet. So we're gonna hit this button right here that has the machine with the blue arrow. That's gonna save it to the machine's memory. So we're gonna click that, wait for it to load. And now we can go to the machine. This is gonna show us everything that's saved onto the machine. So we're gonna go to the page 3 because it's the last one that was put on, and click on it and then okay. And so now clearly we need to change our frame. I don't know if you can see the little red frame around it, but this design's too big for the frame that we have set. So we are going to hit Design Set. Right now we are set to Hoop C, but we're going to change that to Hoop D and see what happens. The machine is moving the arm frames. Okay, much better. So now you can see we fit in the frame, but just barely. So I'm actually going to change it to Hoop E. Now your machine doesn't come with Hoop E, but I'm going to explain why I do that in just a moment. And you can see that fit much, much better. Okay, so now we're going to escape. I don't need to rotate it or anything. It's exactly how I want it. So now we are going to set our thread colors. So we're going to go here. We're going to click on this one that has the thread cones on it. Okay, and so now is when we need to pay attention to what order everything goes in, because the numbers that we put in here is how it's going to stitch out. Okay, hopefully you guys can see, I'm lifting up my ring light here. I have already set all the colors that we're going to use for the peace sign. We have the silver, the orange, the blue, the leaf green, the pink, and black. Okay, so here is an up close of the run sheet that we printed out. So it tells us number 1 that is going to stitch is the silver. Number 2 is pink. Number 3, blue. Number 4, green. 5, black. 6, blue. 7, orange. 8, pink. 9, black. 10, green. So whatever number I have the thread spool on is the number we're going to input in here. So the first thing to stitch is silver, and that's going to be our peace sign, and that's 26,000 stitches, so that's actually going to take a while. This design's like 62,000 stitches, so it's going to take like an hour and a half to stitch out, but that's fine. We're going to have fun. Okay, so silver. I have silver on spot number 2, so I'm going to hit 2. And that's going to do the thread that's in spot number 2, no matter what color it is. It doesn't know that I have silver there. It just knows to do the thread that's on spot number 2. Okay, so next is pink, or it's on here, it's deep rose, but I'm going to do a pink, which I have on needle number 9. So 9, okay. Number 3 is blue, which I have on needle number 6. Okay, number 4, where am I at? Number 4 is green, which I have on needle 4, 5, or actually, see, look, I already messed up. This is on number 7, not 6. My green is on 8. Now black I have on 10, and then our next one is blue, which is needle number 7. Orange, which I have on needle number 5, and then pink again, which is 9, black, which is 10, and then we end on green, which is 8. So now I actually need to change this from what I was showing you guys before. I do not need this on automatic manual. I don't need to do any stops in this design. It's a straight run. So I'm gonna put it back on automatic, and that means it's gonna stitch through every single number, no stopping. So I'm gonna hit OK. And now we need to hoop our item and then trace it and make sure it fits within the frame, and go from there. You can see I have my printout. This is when your printout comes in handy, because you can lay it on your item and put it in place, and then it's easier to hoop your item. Okay, so I'm going to get cutaway stabilizer, my 8x9 mighty hoop, and some tape to hold this design in place while I hoop it. So just got a piece of tearaway, which I'm going to put on the inside. Just gonna lay it right on the inside, and I'm going to just kind of eyeball where I want it. It's a tote bag, so it doesn't, I mean, have to be absolutely perfect. It's not, you know, like this design, it's okay if it'll be a little bit off. I mean, obviously I'm gonna try to get it as straight as possible, but it's not like text where it would be super, super noticeable if it was off. So I think it'll be okay. So I'm just going to tape it where I want it. You can use pins, you can use tape, you can use magnets, you can use whatever you want. I like to use tape. So you can see I taped it in place, and I think that's gonna work perfect, and this is gonna be a super, super cute bag. So now we're gonna take our mighty hoop. This is the 8x9 mighty hoop. Okay, with the mighty hoops, it's important to know that this little thing right here, this little tab, always goes towards you. If you hoop it like this, it's gonna be upside down and go into the back of the machine. So it has to go towards you when you hoop. So we're just gonna slide this right on the inside underneath the stabilizer that we put in there, okay? And then we are going to move it around until we think that it's straight. This is not a perfect system. We just gotta do what we gotta do. Kind of pressing down to see where my line is, to see if it's straight or not, and I can tell by my line that it's crooked off of the design. So I'm going to move it just a little bit. I'm gonna make sure I have room on the side. The top and bottom is where I have the closest amount of room to the frame, so that's where I really need to make sure it's centered and not going to hit the frame. So I'm going to apply the top part of the frame, and it's really important to notice which way your brackets go and where the warning label is. I have all of mine done to where the warning label is at the top, so I need to hoop it this way, just like that. And actually, I don't think I could have gotten it any better than that first try, okay? This is where these printouts really, really come in handy. You have your crosshairs, and it is perfectly lined up with these center dots on the frame. I am actually surprised I did that first try. And you can see the stabilizer is perfectly hooped on the inside as well. So this is ready to go onto the machine. Okay, before I put the bag onto the machine, I'm going to double check how full my bobbin is. Like I said before, this design is almost 63,000 stitches. We are definitely gonna have to change our bobbin at some point, but I want to start with a full one to just keep that for later. And then I'll show you guys how I do that mid-design. Very, very simple. You just take it off and then put it back on. But yeah, so that's the first thing I'm going to do is see how full our bobbin is. And it's actually fairly full. There's only a little bit used in it. So I'm actually going to keep this. And now we're going to put our bag on. The bag is open and goes over the sewing arm. And we are going to make sure our frame is at the right size. Make sure we don't have to adjust it, which if you do, let me show you that real quick. If you need to change your frame size, you're going to change that by loosening these two Phillips screws right here. You're just going to take your Phillips screwdriver, loosen them, do not unscrew them all the way. Let me take this frame out to show you. And it slides. Okay, so you just get it to where you need it. I like to hoop my item first and then do it, and then tighten it exactly where you need. Just like that. Now I'm gonna make sure the strap is out of the way too before I push it on all the way. And if you need to lift it up, you can. And then you just keep going until it clicks like that. Perfect. Make sure the bag is out of the way. Make sure the other strap didn't loop on the inside. There's almost nothing worse than when you get done and you realize you sewed your item to itself somehow. I've done it many times. It stinks. So I actually need to change the frame that we have set for this design. You can see the center of my design is here, but I have it set to needle number 1, which is all the way over here. Okay, that's a big difference. And I do not have enough room in this frame, this E-frame that is set up, to move it all the way over. Because if I do that, if I go over, actually I need to go the other way, I'm sorry. You can see it's moving. So if I go to where needle number 1 is centered on my design, okay, so now my design is, you know, roughly centered on needle number 1, but look at how out of frame it is on here. That's not gonna work. So we need to change our frame. So I think I'm gonna go to the F frame and see what happens. So you can see it's moving and resetting itself. And you can see that gave us a lot more room to move to the left and right. So let's go ahead and do that again. And you can see we have to get the center of the design back to needle number 1. And you can see we still have plenty of room. Okay, and I need to go over just a tiny bit more. So we'll go over just a tad and see what that does for us. Okay, that looks centered. So now let me show you what it would look like if we did other. And this is why I prefer to do a set frame versus other. Watch what happens if we click other. It goes really, really tiny. You can't see your design. If you needed to flip it, you wouldn't be able to tell which way it was going, if it was the correct way that you wanted it. And it would just be really, really difficult. So let's go back to the F frame. We're gonna have to reset everything we just did, which is fine. So let me center this again and then we'll talk. Okay, so I have my design centered again. So like I was saying, this is why I like using the set frames instead of the other frames, because as long as it traces in where you have it, it doesn't really matter what hoop you have it set to. Okay, I do so many things in the 5x5 mighty hoop and have it set to a different frame that's not set for 5x5, just because if it traces without hitting the frame, no matter what hoop you have it set on, you're fine. Okay, so even if it's, you know, a much bigger frame than what you need, it's fine as long as when you trace it, you don't hit your frame. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and trace. And like I said, it traces off of needle number 1 always. That's not just the EM1010, that's all Ricoma machines. It traces off of needle number 1. So we have it set to needle number 1 on our machine. Now, sometimes if you know it's not close to the hoop, you can hold it down as it traces. This particular design I know is very, very close to the edge on these sides. So I'm not gonna hold it down at all because I don't want my presser foot to get messed up. I don't wanna break a needle. So I'm just gonna let it trace on its own first, and then we will contour, and that's when we will hold this down a little bit to see how close we are to the frame. Maybe we need to change some things up. Maybe we'll be okay, but let's just see. So I'm gonna trace first. Okay. And that is very, very close. Holy smokes. Okay. I don't think I could have picked a bigger design. And of course, I don't have a bigger frame than this for this machine. So this tutorial just got interesting. Okay. So this little dotted heart right here is our contour button. We will press this button. So what that's gonna do is it's not just gonna do a square around our design, it's going to go the whole form of the design. All of the ups and downs of the flowers, it's gonna do a circular you know, trace of our whole design. If you do text, it'll go down to like the dip of your Y, the top of your L. So the contour button really, really helps see exactly where you are stitching. So this is what we're gonna hit next. And we'll get a much better idea of how close we are to the frame. So I'm going to hold it down to start, but I'm also going to look at it from the side just to make sure I need to, you know, lift it up or anything if I see that it's getting too close for comfort. So I hit the button and now it's going to contour around the exact stitching field. So I'm watching, making sure it's stitching exactly where I want. And that hits the frame right there, so that's no good. It just barely tapped it, so we can't have that. And now I'm just gonna watch it for down here, see how close we get. Ooh, okay, this design might be too big, guys. I might need to shrink it just a tiny bit in Embrilliance. Okay, so here we are back in Embrilliance. I actually had already exited out of this. That's why this piece sign isn't set to the colors that we had it set to at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to show you what I did to shrink down the design. Now, you can only shrink an embroidery design or enlarge it so much. I think the general rule is like 25%, which even I think that's like a bit too much. Because it's not like a Cricut where you can just, you know, make something bigger or, you know, as big as you want or as small as you want. When it's in an embroidery format, it is set to how many stitches it has. And so when you shrink it, like if I were to shrink it this small, it's all you're doing is making the design more dense and putting all of the stitches into a tighter area. So it's not gonna stitch correctly, okay? So I'm gonna back that up and go back to normal. And what I did is I just barely brought it down, like just barely. I mean, that went from 100% to, you know, not even 4% smaller. And this is simply just gonna help me stay away from the frame. And you'll see as it stitches out that it is not going to distort the design at all. In the stitch of the peace sign, we might have a little bit of, you know, loose stitches just from altering it a little bit, but I will take that over hitting the frame, obviously. And obviously, you know, it would be ideal to have a you know, properly sized frame, but this is the design we're doing. I wanted to show you just what you're able to do by shrinking it just a tiny, tiny bit. Now, I don't recommend doing this all the time or for every design, but in this specific instance, this is gonna work for us. So I just wanted to show you this real quick. Okay, so you can see I moved my printout. We are going to trace. So I'm gonna hit contour, and I'm basically just going to hold this down as I watch to make sure it's not gonna hit the sides. Like I said, I know it's gonna be very, very close over here. And that being said, do this at your own risk. I'm not buying you a new mighty hoop if it comes too close and you hit your thing and it breaks your presser foot. But that doesn't hit, so we're good there. I know we're good this way because it's an 8x9, so I have 9 inches this way, but I only have 8 inches on the top. And with this being an 8x8 design, it just cuts it really, really close. Ooh, now this one's going to be really close also. I can actually barely even keep my finger in there. There we go. Nope, it didn't hit, so we are good. It is technically a little too close for my comfort, but it doesn't hit, and we're just gonna run it for the sake of the video. So here goes nothing. We are ready to hit start. I have all of my colors and everything set, as you guys saw. We traced it, we went over it, and now we're ready to stitch it out. My design is locked. My little lock is down, not open. So now we're going to hit start. It's gonna do the silver peace sign first, and then the flowers, and then we'll talk after. Okay, I'm pretty sure I just ran out of bobbin thread because you can see it says T break right there, which means thread break. But my silver thread is still down there. So I'm pretty sure I simply just ran out of bobbin thread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this and take the bag off of the machine. I'm not going to unhoop it. I'm just going to take it off of the frame. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it and clip and pull it back through and bring it up and over. I'm going to lift this up and out very carefully and just move it to the side. And now we're just going to check our bobbin, and sure enough, it is empty. So I'm just gonna grab a new one down here below. Oh, those are my black ones, sorry. Grab a white one, not a black bobbin. So when you replace your bobbin, I probably should have went over this before, but we're doing it now, okay? So the EM1010 takes the size L bobbins. You want to make sure the thread is coming down on the right and that it is turning clockwise, okay? So you kind of want to make it look like a Q, okay? We're going to place it in our bobbin case, okay? And then the tail, we're going to slip through the side right here and bring it up and over this little hook thing. And then we're going to wrap it around this pigtail twice. Okay, and then leave it a little bit long and replace. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now we're gonna put our bag back on. Okay, make sure it's going through the middle. Make sure the straps are out of the way. Okay. And be very careful as you place this back on, because if you push the frame or anything, you're gonna lose all of your registration. So you wanna make sure you get it back on without moving the frame so that it'll stitch exactly where you had it. Now I'm gonna show you how to back up your stitches. Now I actually already have a video on how to rewind stitches, but we're just gonna do it again here, okay? So we're gonna hit T break, and that's gonna put us in float low mode, okay? You have float low and you have float high, and this is like if you need to add a different needle, like if you had more than 10 colors. I've never had to do that, so we're just gonna go back to float low, okay? Do not hit any of these arrows. It's gonna move your design and your registration is gonna be completely off. We're using these ones, the minus arrow and the plus arrow, okay? Now watch up here, and we're gonna back up just a few stitches. So watch that black, you see that black line moving? Okay, so we're gonna go back just a little bit because it keeps stitching for a few stitches until it registers that the bobbin's not there. So we need to back up so that we don't have any thread gaps in our design. Okay, so now we're back where I want it. So now we're not going to hit start here. We need to go back to where it says stop. Okay, so that way we don't accidentally hit anything. Our registration's not going to be off. It's going to be exactly where we want it. And now we can press start, and it's going to stitch exactly where we were before. Okay, it just finished, and now we're gonna take it off of the machine. So I'm just gonna slide it off real carefully, bring it over. It looks amazing. So we're just gonna take the top part off and the bottom. Okay, and here's what it looks like, guys. I think it turned out great. I'll bring you in up close in just a minute. I have a little piece of my tape that got stuck underneath the hoop. But I think that turned out great. What do you guys think? We're gonna take out the stabilizer on the inside, and this is tear away, so we're literally just gonna tear it away. Okay, now there's still some chunks like on the inside of the peace sign. I'm not really worried about it. It's a bag, it's not like it's a shirt. So here it is up close, you guys. I think it turned out absolutely perfect. Yes, it was a little close to the frame, but we were able to make it work. And I think it turned out great. Let me know what you guys think. I'm so happy I did black on both of the line works. I think it makes the flowers just pop. I'm really glad I didn't do black on the outside of the piece. I don't think it would have been too bad. I think it still would have looked really cute, but I think it just brings that much more dimension between the flowers and the peace sign. And yeah, I think it turned out great. Okay, so there we have it, our crash course on the EM1010. I hope I covered everything you guys need to know from stitching something from start to finish. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. If there's anything specific that you want to see a video on, leave it in the comments down below too, and hopefully I will be able to get that for you guys. If you wanted to win this tote bag, make sure you were paying attention to the little letter codes that I was leaving throughout the video. Like I said in the beginning, the first person to comment the whole phrase in the comments below will win this tote bag. All you have to do is send me your mailing address and I will send it out to you. I'm covering shipping. Just a fun little giveaway for no reason whatsoever. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video.